Hello and welcome to Castanet's Week in Review. I'm Jen Zielinski. Our top story. Health Canada is confirming one person has died and as many as 11 others are ill after eating contaminated cheese with E. coli from Gort's Cheese Farm in Salmon Arm. We spoke with Alberta resident Anne-Marie McCree, who tested positive for E. coli after visiting the farm.
That Health Canada contacted me and made me go through the last 10 days of where I was, if I'd been anywhere or where I was eating. And sure enough, I listed that Gort's cheese, and the woman said, "Oh my God, that's where it's coming from."
The farm's co-owner, Kathy Wickerink, was in tears after learning of the link to the death, saying the business is sorry and is trying to find the cause of the bacteria. The trial for Joe Verma, the man accused of killing Brittany Irving back in 2010, continued this week in a Kelowna courtroom. We go to Ragnar Hagen now for the latest.
This week we heard more testimony from Josie McCullough. He's Brittany Irving's brother and talked about the days leading up to his sister's disappearance. We also heard from a number of pot brokers in the area who dealt with Irving in the days before her disappearance. They talked about text messages exchanged as she tried to come up with 70 pounds of marijuana in a deal worth up to $100,000. Concluding the week was testimony from police officers who took photos and evidence from the scene, including a forensic specialist who combed through a truck owned by Mike Roberts, who we have later to hear from. He found no fingerprints, but he did find a drop of blood. The court has yet to hear who that blood belonged to. Castanet will be following the trial as it continues next week.
Seniors at the Bennett Wellness Centre had to be evacuated after construction crews struck and ruptured a gas line along Highway 33 and Davie Road. Two townhouse complexes and several houses were also evacuated. Highway 33 was blocked for some time until Fortis BC could stop gas from escaping the ruptured line. Two men were taken to hospital following an altercation after a Sunday morning church service and barbecue. One man was knocked unconscious in front of the Francophone Community Centre, which led to the suspect being chased downtown to Tonic's Pub. A man pursuing the suspect was allegedly stabbed in the arm. The suspect was arrested and appeared in court this week. Following the incident, the suspect's wife asked the two victims for forgiveness for her husband, which the two men graciously accepted. Kelowna's new downtown pier will open to the public next week, but we've heard it hasn't all been smooth sailing to get the new landmark in place. Connections that were designed for the pier were complicated, which doubled fabrication time for the crew of big barge dock systems.
The piles were a lot longer than we had expected because the engineers had come up with this criteria for not how deep, but how much they had to hold, so we had to hit them till what they called was refusal, so they ended up being quite a bit longer than originally anticipated.
However, Malmez says the new pier is much more than a gas shack. It's actually one of the more aesthetically pleasing piers he's worked on. Well, that wraps up Castanet's Week in Review. I'm Jen Zielinski. Thanks for watching. Remember to send your news tips to news@castanet.net and follow us on Twitter @CastanetNews.